This episode is brought to you by Ariston Specialties in Bloomfield, Connecticut, makers of amazing olive oils and other Greek delights. Check them out online at aristonspecialties.com. That's Ariston, Ariston, specialties.com. It's the all-new Faith Middleton Food Schmooze Party Podcast, and you can find our new podcast home with the original gang and all brand new shows by looking for the words all new. That's the key to finding the brand new shows that we're doing. Okay, so let's get, I was thinking about getting a whole bunch of things together because we're going to make quesadillas and tell you how easy it is to serve those quickly for lunch, to take them on a picnic, stuff them with anything you want. And so, Chris, why don't you start us off? Chris Prosperi of Metro Beast Restaurant in Simsbury, Connecticut. Go ahead, Chris.
As you guys know, I love quesadillas. It's like my go-to snack day, night, anytime, because they're so easy to make. All right. So I start with, I try to find in the grocery store the largest of the tortillas. Now you can use flour ones. Those you can get like up to 8 to 10 inches, or corn ones, which run in like the 6 to 8 inches. So it depends on what you want to use. Go corn or flour. Again, I'm lean towards the flour ones because I can make really big ones. Then it's the cooking part can be done two different ways, or I'm in favor of the oven. So I start off by preheating my oven. And I don't know about you guys, but I love my quesadillas extra crispy. So I like a really hot oven for this. So I go all the way to 450, if not 425. You don't have to leave it in as long, and it gets really crispy. All right. So I start off with, like I said, my large tortillas, and I'm going with the flour ones. And again, now there's two different ways of doing this. You can either use one large tortilla and fold it in half, or you can use the whole and top it with another one, depending on how many people you're feeding, or in my case, how hungry you are. So let's just say we're using one big one. So I take shredded cheddar cheese, and I like that. You look over in the shredded cheese section that are hanging in the grocery store. I like that Mexican blend they're calling it. And it has like cheddar, Monterey Jack, some spicy jalapeno cheese, and they're all mixed together already for you. And I sprinkle that on half of the large tortilla that I have placed on a cookie sheet, right? And I'd say less is more with this. I don't like them overstuffed. I like them lightly stuffed. So I put a nice sprinkling of cheese, fully covering that half, and then top it with whatever you want. Tomato, some leftover rotisserie chicken. The ingredients can be whatever, but let's just say we're doing chicken and maybe a little bit of chopped tomato and jalapeno. That goes on top. Then I fold it over, right? And I push it down nice and hard, and then bang, right in that 450 degree oven. It takes like 5, maybe 6 minutes. You don't have to turn it. It gets super crispy. Pop it out of the oven, slide it onto a cutting board, let it cool a little bit because it's really hot. Cut it into wedges, and off you go. And I'm a salsa and sour cream person for my toppings. And that's it. It's as easy as that. And the coolest part is literally you can fill this with anything. So really you just need the cheese and the tortillas, and then really whatever's in your fridge.
Chris, I don't know why you're sticking with you can only have a little bit of stuff inside, because I like to throw, a million things into mine. And
I'm with you, Faith. Load it up. The more the merrier.
We can get to that in a little bit. Think of the possibilities. All of a sudden I was thinking kielbasa. I never thought of kielbasa.
Ooh.
Okay, so Mark Raymond in Old Weathersfield. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so I'm starting mine with a chorizo, because I always have a little bit of chorizo left over. Every Monday we do chicken, like a chicken and rice dish, and I always have chorizo in the refrigerator. So I take my chorizo, I slice it really, really thin, and then I put it on whatever quesadilla or tortilla you want to use. For me, I like to use the corn tortillas because I like to stay away from the flour. I load it up with the chorizo and the Monterey Jack cheese. I had a little bit of black beans and some scallions and maybe avocado. And again, I like to load it with cheese because I love it when you cut into it and you cut them into pieces. I like the cheese to kind of ooze out, you know?
Yeah.
And have, you know, where you have to like kind of wrap it around that piece before you dip it into your salsa.
Yeah, that's the way. That's the way.
And then a neat kind of spin. I love the oven idea because that's obviously you can just keep that oven on and just keep refilling and going back with the sheet tray. But I've got a unique idea where you actually put it into a waffle maker.
Whoa.
So you put it on the waffle maker and you close it up and it heats up both sides and you get these really sort of neat little crunchy marks of the dark marks in there. And it works brilliantly. And, you know, for people that are, you know, maybe at college and they have a waffle maker, but they don't have an oven, you know, they could utilize that, but it gives it a little bit of a different look too. So
have you heard about the kids in college that, make the quesadilla and then they wrap it in aluminum foil and then they plug in an iron into the wall and they iron
no.
quesadilla? I swear.
Okay, that's the creativity
swear,
award
like
right there.
There you go.
Awesome.
Probably
Who needs a
dangerous,
kitchen?
but I don't.
Yeah, a little dangerous, but
I bet it works.
Creative.
Yep. Genius.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Joanne Church in New London. What do you make?
You know, when you brought up quesadillas, I thought of the happy hour in the 80s where there was always free food and there were always quesadillas. So you could go in, buy $1 beer and have dinner with the quesadillas. And those were pure cheese quesadillas that you could eat with your hand, dip it in the sour cream, dip it in the salsa. So I just remember I loved that was my go-to happy hour.
Yeah.
So at home, quesadillas will always be a leftover chicken, beef, whatever it is. And just like Chris, I'll get the 8 to 10 size. I'll get a low carb. And a lot of people if you have time, make your own tortilla, and you can make it pretty low carb with almond flour and coconut flour. But,
Nice.
so the leftovers, put it in a bowl, chopped onion, maybe jalapeno. Something that's always on our shelf is the Rotel diced tomatoes with green chilies or whatever they have. It's always a good thing to have.
Spicy.
I remember the cumin flavor coming out in those.
Yes, it can help. It helps everything. And also, like Chris, I always go for the Mexican blend cheese, and pretty much just like Chris, on a cookie sheet, parchment paper, put the tortillas, put the cheese and the leftover mix on, put it in the oven till the cheese melts and take it out. You say let it cool. I don't even wait for it to cool. Avocado, cilantro, my favorite Green Mountain mild salsa, sour cream, lots of sour cream, and maybe some lime. And I'll fold it over. Because then it's a lot more messy and you have to eat it with a knife and fork. Yum.
So we're going to go to Carl Franklin, who does his own podcasts on how to eat keto. So I'm really interested in what he's going to do with his. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the all-new, look for those words, Food Schmooze Party. Well, you know, this is the all-new Faith Middleton Food Schmooze Party with the gang. The gang is here, and our regulars, and we have a couple extra people, and we're so excited to have them. One is Carl Franklin, and he does his own podcast called Two Keto Dudes. And so he's very much into keto eating, and he teaches us a lot of stuff. And so if you've been hearing about it and you're just curious about how it works, Carl, how would you, because I'm thinking about these tortillas being very carb forward. And so how would you make a quesadilla?
Well, first of all, let me say I've been eating quesadillas my whole life, even before I got type 2 diabetes and went zero carb or low carb. But I found, and they don't pay us to say this, this is not a paid promotion, but I started buying low carb tortillas. They're called zero carb tortillas and bread from Hero. And the URL is hero.co. And you can get sliced bread, you can get hamburger buns, hot dog buns, and you can get, what are essentially flour tortillas. And they taste just like flour tortillas. They don't taste, bad. You can't, if you gave these to somebody and made a quesadilla with them, they wouldn't be able to tell that there was a 0-carb tortilla.
So you get them online?
Yeah, that's the only place you can get them right now.
Although you did tell us last time on one of the earlier shows that some Subway shops are serving bread, hero bread.
Yeah, I looked.
That's pretty good.
I looked online, and there was a story about certain Subways in various places and states. But when you call any Subways and you say, "Hey, do you have hero bread?" They're like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." So I don't know. Maybe it didn't happen. Anyway, so
maybe it was a dream.
Yeah, maybe it was a dream. But yeah, I've had good luck with these. But here's the thing: like, if you have celiac or you're watching gluten, like if you're gluten free, these aren't going to be an option for you because they do have modified wheat starch and they have wheat gluten as an ingredient, and that's what gives it the stretchiness and all that stuff.
So, lots of times now, people with diabetes have these monitors and they can look on their phones and see what their numbers are.
That's
so
right.
Would the way to try it be to just have one and then see what your numbers do?
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to
glucose
have
level.
a continuous glucose monitor. You can use the standard tried and true, stick your finger, put a drop of blood on a strip and into a reader. And you can track your blood sugar. For me, it has zero effect on my blood sugar. Like, when I eat one of these, my blood sugar was 100 before I ate, it was 100 while I ate, and it's 100 after I eat. So, yeah, it's really cool. All right, so as I said before, this isn't an option if you have celiac or you're sensitive to wheat gluten. But if you are gluten-free, you can make your own tortillas that have the texture of corn tortillas. But of course, they don't really taste like corn tortillas unless you put corn flavoring in them. And that's a whole nother story. But
yeah, I was just thinking, there's no way I'm going to do this.
yeah, right.
I made tortillas once. I'm with Faith.
Yeah, I agree. However, would it change your mind if I told you that once you make the batter, you can make them in the microwave in 90 seconds?
Yes.
Yes.
Changes my mind.
How many days does it take to make the batter?
It takes 5 minutes to put the batter together.
Ooh.
So
okay. You have my attention.
So if you go to tortillas.2keto.com, that's a shortcut to Fox Hill Kitchen's recipe on how to make low-carb corn tortillas. And you have to buy their bread mix. Now, their bread mix, this is a great company. They're from Vermont. And again, they don't pay me to do this. It's just a product that I use, right? So if you go to their website, you can order their all-purpose bread mix. And their bread mix has almond flour, coconut flour, psyllium husk powder. It has yeast, okay? Because when you make bread, you have that yeasty smell, and you can use their mix to make bread and buns and all that stuff. And basically, it's this magic formula that's gluten-free, and it also happens to be carb-free. So, and as I said, 90 seconds in the microwave and you got tortillas. I have had these. The owner of Fox Hill Kitchens has come to my house and made mushu pancakes.
Out of this?
Yeah, with this recipe.
Wow.
Do you think you could make scallion pancakes?
Those are a little
the
different.
Chinese.
But yeah, you can make anything that you can use a tortilla for.
Well, just chop up some scallions.
I suppose you could chop up scallions and put them in the batter,
Yeah.
I'm putting my order in.
Yeah. Doesn't that sound good?
Yeah, I've got to try it.
So, Carl, before you go on to anything else, I want to hear, what are you stuffing your tortilla with?
I stuff my tortillas with lobster and caviar. No, I'm kidding.
No.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Ew.
It's gross.
How about foie gras?
Yeah, a little
Come
foie. Foie tortillas. No, one thing I like to make with a quesadilla is like a Philly steak and cheese quesadilla.
No.
And for this, I don't
like
get
that.
like the steakum stuff from the freezer section.
Hey, don't knock the steakums. I grew up on that.
Yes, I grew up on macaroni and cheese, and look at me. You know what I mean? But if you make a ribeye, right? And if you're one of these keto people, right? And you make a ribeye, there's really two parts to a ribeye. There's the eye of the round, which is the leanest part that's in the middle. And then there's everything else. So when I make a ribeye, I eat everything else. And I pretty much leave the round. And in the restaurant, they say, do you want to take that home? And if I'm going to make a quesadilla, that's what I use. Now, it's medium rare to begin with, so I slice it really thin, like razor thin. So you pull it up and it's all shredded, right?
Jeez,
You hold it up.
so good.
And then, you get some onions and some peppers and some mushrooms, and you saute those up with some garlic and butter. And then at the last minute, you throw those pieces of steak in just to brown a little bit. And that goes on your quesadilla. Of course, I like to use pepper jack cheese with this stuff. But you could go back and listen to my cheese sauce. You could use that.
Yeah, okay.
Or just any cheese. But yeah.
Yeah. Good old American cheese.
American cheese. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, what have you and your son Daniel been up to?
What have we been up to? We've been moving him into college.
Oh, but I mean, does he make quesadillas?
He does make quesadillas. He is more of a traditionalist, so he would probably ask for the chicken or the beef with the jack cheese and the scallions. Wouldn't be asking for the avocado. He would just, he likes to keep things very simple.
And does he use the iron method?
Did he ask you for an iron? Because kids don't iron their clothes that much anymore, so be suspicious.
No, but he was really impressed when I did one in the waffle maker, and he's like, "Dad, that's brilliant. That's great."
I know it is brilliant.
That is Yankee ingenuity at its best right there.
Yeah, it's like meatloaf in a paper bag.
I've heard of things like people making brownies in it and cakes in it, but using it as a panini grill, that's genius.
Yep.
Yeah, the brownies, by the way, because you know how you want the edges of the brownies in a waffle maker. It's just unbelievable. Or even in the George Foreman grill. But anyway, okay, I think, let me see. Is it my turn? I think.
Yeah.
I'm with that whole, at first I stuff my tortillas, and so everything's coming out the sides, and I don't even care. And I get the corn tortilla ones, and I just put a little oil in the fry pan, and usually on a cast iron skillet, and I throw in 2 tortillas, one next to the other, and then on each top I put some rotisserie chicken that I've cut up, some Greek Kalamata olives, then I do chopped green onions, and if you like, you could put a little bit of salsa on the inside. But I put sometimes a combination of Mexican cheese. Sometimes I put feta cheese from Greece and cilantro, and it's just flavors that I like. And then put one tortilla on top of the other, and so it's really fat. And then, cut it up into triangles, let it cool for a little bit, and just put it on the table with some salsa and stuff, and just invite people to go at it.
Wow.
Perfect.
That sounds so good.
You could take them on a picnic if you do them just before you go.
Wrap them in aluminum foil.
That's right. That's something we really didn't talk about. After you make a quesadilla and you make leftovers, you put it in the fridge. And when it's time to eat, like Mark said, you put them in some aluminum foil, put them in the toaster oven, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a great little snack for later.
Yeah.
And even if you took it out of the aluminum foil, you could probably put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What would you say?
You might lose the crispiness, though.
You might, yeah.
I'd still eat it.
If you're hungry.
I would too, Chris.
Exactly, Chris. I'd still eat it.
This is crispy. I can't go near this. This is okay. Listen, we're doing all kinds of these shows, and we're calling them the all-new Faith Middleton Food Schmooze Party, and it stars the whole gang, as you remember, with a couple of additions that we're thrilled about. My dog, our mascot, Bon Bon, is in his bed behind my studio chair, and so we can't wait to see you next time, and let us know that you're out there listening, and we'd love to hear from you, and pass the word. You just have to look for all new when you see Faith Middleton Food Schmooze Party. Okay, see you next time.